initially you put or say the place itself first and then after that to. Let's say Japan. To Japan. In Japanese you say Japan to. And from someone, let's say it's from me, Ira. My name is Ira. In Japanese, it's different with other languages. You put or call or mention the person first and then after that the from. It becomes Ira from instead of from Ira. That's what we have in Japanese, and then this one we will talk about it later in Indonesian part. Okay, most of the times the Indonesian is quite similar with English in terms of the syntax itself. You might see it here. The difference is only here, because this and this is quite similar, whether it's in Indonesian or in English, it's the same with SVO. Or in Indonesia, we call it as subjek, predikat, objek, SPOK. The K itself is for the place and the time signal. The difference is only here when you put in Indonesian, this one, it has to be our majority or most of the time the place first and then after that time signal. And in English, time signal first and then after that the place. That's the only difference that I found here. In English, the plural for noun, you add S or AS, ES. In Indonesian, you repeat the noun and then you put hyphen in between to make the noun as plural. But there is interesting thing here. In Indonesian, if you want to say 5 houses, it is incorrect if you say it as 5 houses in Indonesian. Because in Indonesian, 5 house is not 5 houses, but 5 house. Whether in English, 5 houses. But these plural nouns we use for other kind of sentences. Let's say there are houses. In that case, we use houses, which is in Indonesia, you repeat the noun and put hyphen in between. And there is also the difference of Indonesian phrase, in this case with noun and adjective. In Indonesian, first you mention the noun, after that the adjective. Let's say this one is ball and then this one is purple. In Indonesian, instead of saying as purple ball, you say it as ball purple. Noun first and then adjective. And there's also difference in Indonesian when it comes of possession. Let's say you want to say it as my house or Ira's house. In Indonesian, the first or initial you mention the noun and then after that my or the possession, Ira or Ira's. In Indonesian you just say it as Ira. Let's say this is house and this is my. Instead of my house in Indonesian, house and then my. Instead of Ira's house in Indonesian, house and then Ira. House is rumah, my is ku, rumahku. Ira's house, rumah Ira. There's no apostrophe, there's no anything, just house and then the name in 2 words. In English, itself. And there are no different kind of verb that you use depend on the subject that you use. Whether it's for I, you, we, they, he, she, it, the verb itself is gonna be the same. Whether it's now, the present time, later in the future, before in the past, the verb itself is the same. You just have to add extra word in front of the verb. Whether now or already done or have done, you just add those extra words. There's no infinitive, past simple, past participle. There's no this kind of stuff in Indonesian. And when Indonesian and also several countries in Southeast Asia, when we learn about this kind of stuff, we don't use this, at least I don't use this kind of, words to study this. We call it as V1, V2, V3, V4, verb ing. 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3. V1, V2, V3, verb ing. Because when we have to learn about whether it's about tenses, whether it's now, the present time, or later in the future, or in the past, this thing will make it's a bit hard to put it in a logic way. So I think by writing this or mention this or think this as verb 1, verb 2, verb 3, and verb ing, that is the easiest way to make you understand in the quickest and easiest way. And now there is the last part, I think. Yeah, this and this. Similarities between Japanese and Indonesian. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. There's also no the in Indonesian. Similarities in Indonesian and also in Japanese, mostly in daily conversation, we just mention the subject one time. In the beginning, at the first sentence. After that, there's possibility we don't mention the subject again anymore. Because by mentioning it in the first sentence, it is good enough. Because we already know that we'll talk about those subjects. Why you have to repeat the subject again and again and again. But of course, in Dutch and in English, you have to use subject in every sentence that you use, because if not, people maybe will not understand, or it becomes not sure, ambiguity, I don't know. But in Indonesian and also in Japanese, just mention it in the first sentence and then done. Sentence after that, no need to repeat the subject. We're kind of get the idea. But that is mostly for casual or daily conversation at least. And the similarities, the other one, the same with Indonesian and Japanese. No matter we have this kind of formation for the syntax of our sentence or sentences, in daily conversation, most of the time, we'll kind of mess up with the word that we use, or we don't use lots of words. Sometimes we just say, go, when, tomorrow, is the day, yes, who, him, yeah, it's kind of short and simple, not so complete or not so formal. That's why the subject can be in the middle of the sentence, can be in front, can be here, or can be at the end of the sentence, or maybe even not being mentioned in your sentence. That's what happened in the daily or at least casual conversation. Thank you.